see very, very clearly. Today we will discuss an article. Every day we discuss an article taken from YouTube. So I have taken an article from the same newspaper and there are some questions at the end of it. So as usual, I will show you the passage. We will discuss it properly and then we will analyze and of course we will answer the questions also. Right. So without wasting much of a time, I will show you the source. All of you know it already. Today's Hindu. Right. And this is the first slide. And let me tell you one thing, while reading this article, you should be very, very careful not to get biased, not to get emotional. Right? Whatever the passage says, go according to it. Do not use your own emotions. Do not be affected. Do not become happy or do not become sad. Right? It's very be objective. The order of the Supreme Court is what is the topic, and many people are happy, many people are sad. You should be neither. You should be objective, right? So the purpose is to understand the message, right? So everybody is ready. I hope everybody is reading it rather. So take time. Abhilash, cryptic का मतलब होता है cryptic means something which is difficult to understand. Cryptic का मतलब होता है something which is difficult to understand. Of course मतलब जिसको explain करना मुश्किल है, जिसको easily got something which cannot be easily, ठीक है? So in short here, it is used to mean something like it is used to mean something like the word vague. So national security, right, is taken to be something which is cryptic, but very vague. What exactly does it mean? It's very difficult to decide. Okay, everybody is reading it, I hope. And what is the meaning of this word rationale? Rationale basically is the reason, right, or the justification, the reason, the explanation. And what is deference? Deference means showing respect, right? Allowing others to, not interfering, showing respect, right? And coerce basically means to force. Okay? And critique, I hope all of you know this word critique is something like a analysis. What is good, what is bad. Bhavik, coerce basically means to force. Okay? Coerce the government into sharing details, matlab force the government into sharing details. So what is the author saying? Right, the author is saying that in the recent times, Supreme Court, has been, you know, uh, has been lenient on the government whenever there is national security, right? So the court has always been, has been allowing the government to do whatever it likes on the issue of national security. Right now, this time, this record is a change. What is telling. Okay, everybody is reading it, I hope. So the court's order on October 27th, forming a committee, right, was refreshing. So that means it's a change. So recently, what has been happening would say there has been a certain change. Right. So everybody has read it, I hope. No responses from anybody so far. So I am changing the slide. This is the next slide. There are 5 paragraphs like this. It is not very long. It is okayish, right? And there are questions also. Let's see. Right in the next paragraph, you will find it is telling, right? It is telling that the order begins with a quote from George Orwell's 1984. This reference I'll explain. Sabse pehle, what is the meaning of the word telling? Telling means it has a lot of impact, right? So telling something which has a lot of impact. So the order begins with a quote from George Orwell's 1984. What is this George Orwell's 1984? It is the name of a novel, a short novel, right, written by George Orwell. The name of the novel is 1984. It is about a totalitarian government, right? It's about a fiction. Now, of course, it's about a country, a state that is completely controlled by the government. The citizens have no rights. The citizens have no, you know, uh, have no rights, right? It's the state that that controls everything, right? So it is impactful, therefore, that the author begins with the quote from this novel, right? So I hope everybody understands the meaning of the word, you know, the meaning, the implication of the author when he uses the word Orwellian, right? So the allegations against the government were indeed Orwellian. So the accusations are Orwellian. Matlab, like what George Orwell normally he writes against. He is famous for writing against complete control by the government, right? He is one who writes mostly for civil rights, and rights of the civil rights of the public, right? So totalitarian government के खिलाफ है ज्यादातर, right? No response from anybody, everybody is reading it, I hope. This is mostly factual information, and be very careful. Everywhere the author uses the word allegations. Allegation क्या है? Somebody has raised a certain question. That is allegation. ठीक है? Right. And look at the word supposedly. Why does the author supposedly से कुछ फर्क पड़ता है? Yes, supposedly means it is not 100% proof. This is typical, journalists are very careful about this, right? So they will use words like allegations, supposedly, ठीक है? And these are, there are allegations is again coming up here. So why does the writer use it? Of course it is going to be printed in a newspaper, so it is not something which is confirmed. These are allegations, these are accusations, these are things which are supposed, right? So we'll have to be very careful about this. Everybody's reading it, I hope. No response from anybody. I hope everybody understood the meaning of the word Orwellian. Everybody has read it. No response from anybody for a long time. Anyway, I hope everybody has read it. The last person to ask a question was Bhavik. Okay, all clear. Everybody has read it. Okay. As I was telling you, when you read a political article like this, right? An article based on politics, you should not be negative. You should not be positive. Also, be objective. This is a skill that is very important, not only in RC but also in real life. Right? One should not get unnecessarily emotional. Go by the facts of the matter. Everybody is reading it. Mahima, so the government has installed the Pegasus on mobiles of journalists. हमें नहीं पता अभी तक. That is why remember Mahima, what has happened is वो हमें नहीं पता ना. We do not know. There are accusations. Installed हुआ है, accusations है. Right. Government ने किया है वो अभी पता नहीं. तभी तो the Supreme Court has ordered an inquiry, right? So it is not clear who has अब देखो इसके, so important thing here is, see, that is what we have to be careful. What the author is telling you is about the Supreme Court's order for an inquiry, right? He does not say that the government is installed. वो नहीं कहता, वो तो हमें पता भी नहीं है, right? There are accusations. अब इस install हुआ है तो किसने किया? So that is something which we do not know. That will come out only after the inquiry, right? What the author is telling is, earlier, whenever some issue like this comes up, right, national security was taken as an excuse to not even investigate at all. The Supreme Court used to allow the government, right, uh, on the excuse of national security. Now it is not there. Okay, right. And by the way, in this paragraph, if you look at it very carefully, what does the author say? Right, he's telling you about if you have to make any restriction on a fundamental right, the right to privacy, it must be through a valid law. So you cannot simply infringe on the right to privacy, right? It should be proportionate. There should be a legitimate proportion between the purpose and the you know and the harm, right? Of course, whenever you restrict any right, right, it is going to cause harm, right? The author is telling you about a principle that if there is harm to be caused, there should be sufficient cause, there should be sufficient purpose, right? Otherwise, what is the point in suspending a right simply for a small reason? So there should be enough reason, is what he's telling you. Okay. And in fact, the very important thing is he is saying that it is likely that snooping, right? So, ho sakta hai that it may not have been sanctioned. This snooping, so what is snooping? Snooping is spying. हो सकता है that spying may not have been sanctioned by any law. मतलब हो सकता है illegally किया गया हो. अगर किया हो तो it would have been illegal because the government would have filed an affidavit to that effect. मतलब अगर it has been sanctioned lawfully, the government would have replied that yes, we have sanctioned it legally, right? But then that affidavit has not been filed, so the author is saying that it is likely that if Pegasus has been used, right, it has not been sanctioned. It has been illegally used, right? Mahima, apex means the highest, right? So apex court basically means the Supreme Court. Right. So here, from here to here, he is telling you that if Pegasus has been used in India, it is most likely to be through illegal means. Why? Because the government has not filed any affidavit in that regard. Instead of being judged by in spite of being nudged, being encouraged by the Supreme Court. Okay. Now, so instead, the government has repeatedly relied on a minister's statement. Right. Now, representations. So, to deny this, the government has depended on the minister's, you know, uh, representations made in the parliament. Right. So, the author is telling you that this is different from an affidavit, where in an affidavit, if you lie, you can go to jail. I mean, in the parliament, if it's like. There is unlikely, so there it's like it would be very rare, right, for to the speeches, the representations made in parliament are protected, right, and consequences for false or misleading statements are very rare, right? So he's telling you all this. In fact, these are the data, right? Everybody's read it, I hope. Let's see. Bhavik, snooping and eavesdropping, similar hai, right? The only thing is, snooping is used more in that spy, James Bond type का meaning आता है इसमें. थोड़ा सा spy type का meaning आता है. Eavesdropping is also very similar. Eavesdropping is more specific. It is like listening to somebody else's conversation without knowing, without them knowing. Right. What is incantation? Incantation is chanting like a mantra. Right. So what is ritualistic in incantation, like chanting a mantra. Right. So the government is using the word national security like a mantra to avoid providing answers in affidavit. Right. The very serious thing is that देखो if there is unauthorized surveillance or accessing of data, right, for reasons other than security, right, it would be very bad, right? If this is the case, if it has happened, right, if it has happened according to the nation's security, then the government should not be afraid of filing an affidavit, right? So you know so far the government has not been, has been avoiding answers in that affidavit. Okay, so this is what the author is telling us so far. Everybody's read it so far, I think. All clear? Okay. This is the last slide. Right. What is omnibus? Omnibus means having a very wide scope. Omni means all, right? Omnibus matlab containing everything. So here what is the author is saying, right? The author is saying that the assertions desist basically means to stay away from or to avoid. ठीक है, desist meaning to stop from doing something, right? So desist from interference. So the Supreme Court did not buy this omnibus assertions to desist from interference, right? Matlab the reply given by the reply given by the government is what the author is saying to be trying to avoid interference by giving very wide answers, not clear answers, right? So this is what it means. Okay, right. Vaishnavi, bugbear here basically means something like like an excuse, right? National security cannot be the bugbear that the judiciary shies away from. Bugbear therefore means something which you are allergic to, something which you would avoid. In short, here it means that, right? So national security cannot be the bugbear that the judiciary shies away from, right? So by virtue of its mere mentioning, इससे मिल रहा है पता idea. Bugbear is nothing else but something who is, something or somebody whom you try to avoid, something or somebody whom you never, you would not even try to confront. ठीक है? So national security cannot be an issue. Mention करते ही everybody should keep quiet. So that is what is the author is saying. It's not like every time national security is raised, you cannot keep quiet. ठीक है? Understood? Right. So the court observed that indiscriminate spying on individuals cannot be allowed. Indiscriminate spying on individuals cannot be allowed except with sufficient statutory safeguards grounded in legality, necessity, and proportion. So this is something which is the author is telling you, right? You cannot indiscriminate, matlab without any care, without proper rules, right? So indiscriminate spying cannot be allowed except with sufficient statutory basically means as per the law. So there should be proper safeguards. Right. What is the meaning of the word incumbent? Incumbent has two meanings. Incumbent means current when it comes to the government. So if I say the incumbent government, that means the government that is holding powers now, that is holding the reins of power now, right? And if I say it is incumbent on somebody, that means it is his responsibility. It is the responsibility of the government to not only plead the constitutional concern but also justify the same. So this is what the government should do according to the author. ठीक है, इनकम्बेंट का मतलब समझ आया सबको? Two meanings. Incumbent, I can use it like this: the incumbent minister, matlab the minister who's in power now. And if I say it is incumbent on somebody, that means it is his responsibility, right? Not in the hands, Siddharth, in the hands of, यहाँ पे it is in the hands of the government. मतलब it does not mean government के हाथ में कुछ भी करे. No, it means it is incumbent on the government. मतलब the government has a responsibility. The government should do this. ठीक है? So do not interpret it wrongly. Incumbent government का मतलब कुछ और है, right? Incumbent minister मतलब कुछ और है. It is incumbent on the minister मतलब उसका responsibility है. ठीक है? Clear है? Everybody has read it, I hope. All clear, I think. Okay. There are questions, right? There are 4 questions. The questions are what I have made, right? You should be very careful, and I've tried to make them as tricky as possible. This is the first question. Why does the author find the quotes order refreshing? Right? This is there in the first paragraph. Refreshing matlab naya lagta hai is if he supports it, right? It's there in the first paragraph. Do you want to see the first paragraph for some time? If you want, I'll show it to you, right? And I would expect you to get the answer also. Right. First paragraph is this, right? This is where he tells you refreshing क्यों है? Refreshing compared to the past, compared to the recent past. ठीक है? This is something which you do not have to, as in read for a long time. I hope everybody will be clear. Let's see. Choose the best option. Choose the best option. There are 4 options. I'm waiting for everybody to respond. Why does the author finds the quotes order refreshing? It's there in the first paragraph. Eliminate whatever is wrong, right? Even if you find one word which because of which the answer is wrong, you can eliminate it. Choose the best answer. Waiting for your responses. This question I have made it very tricky. Made it tricky. Okay, many of you. Siddharth is saying 3. Vaishnavi is also saying C. What about others? Okay, Abhilash confused between 3 and 4. Okay, eliminate karo. Whenever you are confused, try to eliminate. Whenever you have any confusion, try to eliminate. देखो, the government will have to be more transparent now. More transparent मतलब किस टॉपिक पे? More transparent in economic policies, more transparent in dealing with elections. So more transparent कौन सी एरिया में? It covers a very big area. If you notice here, refreshing इसलिए है only in the particular area where the government uses this excuse of national security, and it tries to avoid answering questions, right? So best, so you if you notice, more transparent किस मामले में? In dealing with taxes, in dealing with economic policies, in dealing with fiscal, there are many, right? So transparency, it's not just it's like it's quite wide. So I've eliminated 4. Now if you know how I've eliminated 4, most of you will agree that the best answer is 3. Right. Now option 1 देखो, it marks a departure from earlier cases. यहाँ तक ठीक है. where the government completely overpowered the Supreme Court. Is it not too ज़्यादा, मतलब कि गवर्नमेंट ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट को completely दबा के रखा है? This is very extreme. This is very extreme. What the government did was earlier was to avoid answers by using the excuse of national security. So one can be eliminated. Second, because the no, okay, what is wrong with the second, right? Because the government is no longer, the Supreme Court is no longer giving concessions to the government. यहाँ तक तो perfectly fine है. What is wrong with two? Everybody, can you tell me? What is wrong with two? Because the Supreme Court is no longer giving concession to the government. यहाँ तक ठीक है. I agree till here. The problem is with this. On any grounds, right? The government is going to give concessions only in limited cases. On any grounds नहीं, right? So अब now concessions will not be simply given, right, by invoking national security. Yes, special cases में अभी भी concession मिल सकता है, right? But it does not mean that freely सब कुछ कर लो. Everybody understood this, I hope? Yes, right. ठीक है, correct Siddharth. On any grounds, we do not know. Correct. Next question. Which of the following statements are correct except? Right. Now, इसमें मैंने एक problem, because of a printing mistake, right? Because of a printing mistake, there are two answers. So, which of the following? There would be two answers to this. Everybody tell me. There would be two statements. So there's not one, right? So there will be two answers to this. You will have to tell me which are the two, right? यहाँ combinations type करते वक्त वो उड़ गया, मतलब there are combinations, right? So no, not one answer. There are two statements. So which of the following two statements? ऐसे करके देखो. Right. Which of the following two statements? So you'll have to answer it like this. Right. Everybody quickly tell me. Which of the following statements are correct except? So you have to find two statements which are wrong. Okay. Be very careful. This is tricky. Okay. Gokul is saying 3 and 4. Okay. What about others? As I was telling you, there are two statements. Combination नीचे जो है, मतलब it could not reflect somehow because of a small issue anyway. But I've told you there are two statements to this answer. So only one person is answering 3 and 4. 1 and 4. Vaishnavi is saying 1 and 4. Correct except. Okay. Sandhya is saying 2 and 4. Anyway, let me wait for your responses. Okay. So okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people have answered so far. What about others? 8 people now. Right. Now let me tell you quickly. The answer is 3 and 4. Right. The Pegasus has been used to implant false evidence in past instances. हमें पता ही नहीं है. It can be used. Use किया जा सकता है. Does it mean it has been used? No, right. And in fact, if you notice, the government has filed an affidavit in the Supreme Court in this regard. देखो, if you notice, the author keeps on telling you affidavit के बजाय they keep on relying on the arguments given in the parliament, right? Clearly affidavit में अगर state कर दे तो the person who stated it, you could go to prison because of it, because of wrong, uh, wrong things, right? So that way the best answer is 3 and 4, right? Now Pegasus cannot be used by private firms or ordinary citizens. This is very clearly given. I'll tell you where is it given. Right, देखो, look at this. One second. right? Look at this, right? The NSO group, it sells it only to certain undisclosed governments, and the end user of the products are exclusively government intelligence and law enforcement. So it cannot be anything else apart from government agencies, right? So Pegasus cannot be used by, yes, so this is something which is correct. There are allegations against the government of infringement, right? यही तो है, Pegasus use किया है government ने, it has been accused, तभी तो probe is happening. So 1 and 2 are correct, so they cannot be the answer. ठीक है, everybody got the point? I hope the best answer should be 3 and 4. ठीक है, 3 का देखो, has been used to implant false evidence, use किया जा सकता है, but does it mean has it happened? We do not know, right? And the government has filed an affidavit. If you notice, it tells you, right, that they must also justify the same in court on affidavit. करना चाहिए, अभी तक किया नहीं, right? सरकार, the government should do that, right? So they want to avoid providing answers in affidavit. Avoid का मतलब क्या है? नहीं किया है अभी तक, ठीक है? So this is something which is false, ठीक है? So 2 questions right now. This is the third one. Everybody, there are 4 questions. Let's see kitna, how many of you are able to get it correct. Let's see. Which of the following situations, right? There is a slight mistake. Situations, right? Situation presents the closest analogy to the purpose harm balance principle stated in the third paragraph. Purpose harm balance principle, third paragraph. Do you want to see the third paragraph, or will you answer it just like that? I hope you'll remember, right? We have read the passage, so we should be able to remember it. Purpose harm principle, कितना नुकसान होगा और किस लिए यूज हो रहा है, right? There should be a balance, right? I cannot simply suspend the right just to satisfy a small purpose. So that is the purpose harm balance. So this is an typical application question, right? Where you are supposed to apply this principle in an outside information. Everybody is clear? Purpose harm principle, right? If you're going to suspend, or if you're going to suspend the rights of a person, right, it should be with sufficient reason. You want to go back? Siddharth, okay, chalo, dikhata hu, I'll show you. I thought you would remember, right? Purpose harm principle is basically explained here. There is a proper balance to be achieved between that purpose and the harm caused by limiting the right. So this is the part. Okay. Okay. So purpose harm principle is this, that if you're going to suspend the right, if you're going to resort to drastic measures, you should do it for a proper reason. Okay. Right. Now let's see. Everybody, best answer. Now in the exam, you are definitely allowed to refer. You are definitely allowed to go back and refer to the passage. That will definitely help you increase the chances of getting the answers correct. That is fine. But here I cannot show you the passage and the questions in the same screen, limited by technology, right? So best answer, people have started answering. So far, majority of you think the answer is 3, right? Okay. So purpose and harm. Purpose means किस लिए use हो रहा है, right? And harm क्या नुकसान होगा, right? What is the problem? So some of you are also saying the answer is 4. अच्छा, problem. Okay. Problem. What is the best answer? Let me tell you, right? Best answer is 3, right? Closest analogy में purpose और harm दोनों होना चाहिए, ठीक है, right? Now 4 में प्रॉब्लम क्या है? डॉक्टर डिसाइडिंग वेदर अ पेशेंट कैन सर्वाइव सर्जिकल प्रोसेस. सर्जिकल प्रोसेस इज नॉट द पर्पस, राइट? सर्जरी किस लिए कर रहे हैं, राइट? मेडिकल इमरजेंसी probably is the purpose, but the point is it is very vague कि ये मेडिकल इमरजेंसी एक्चुअली है क्या, ठीक है? So the answer should have both the purpose and the harm, right? Now if you notice, what is the harm? the patient can survive surgical process, so this is likely, but medical, so if you notice harm is this, but purpose is not very clear. Look at 3. It would be okay to use corporal punishment is basically, iske harm to hoga na, right? When you use corporal punishment, you are definitely you're going to hit the child. And what is the purpose? The purpose is disciplining students. So both the features are very clearly present. It will be 3. Now, answer the problem 2 to nahi hoga. Everybody understood, I hope. A farmer deciding whether to plant crops or raise cattle. ये तो दो alternatives है. It is not purpose versus harm, right? And 1, a scientist analyzing the pros and cons. ये भी नहीं है. Pros and cons मतलब negatives and positives. We are looking for not negatives and positives, but purpose versus harm. ठीक है? All got it, I hope. Right. Now, last question. Which of the following would the author agree, right, with the most? Right. Here you can eliminate, 4 में से 2 ऑप्शंस बहुत इजीली एलिमिनेट हो जाएगा, राइट. एक तो लेट मी हेल्प यू, द सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज फाउंड द गवर्नमेंट गिल्टी. अभी तक नहीं, राइट. दे हैव ओनली द सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज ओनली given an order for an inquiry. So ये तो मैंने एलिमिनेट कर दिया. This is something which is very easy, right? महिमा, why can't 4 be the answer? मैंने एक्सप्लेन तो कर दिया. एक बार बताओ, पर्पस वर्सेस हार्म में 4 में पर्पस क्या है? पर्पस क्या है? सर्जिकल प्रोसेस किस लिए कर रहे हैं? सर्वाइवल. सर्जिकल प्रोसेस किस लिए कर रहे हैं? महिमा, सर्जिकल प्रोसेस किस लिए कर रहे हैं? सर्जिकल प्रोसेस किस लिए कर रहे हैं वो क्लियर नहीं है. दैट मीन्स पर्पस तो है ही नहीं ना. एनालॉजी मतलब इट शुड बी क्लोजेस्ट, सो पर्पस भी क्लियर होना चाहिए, हार्म भी क्लियर होना चाहिए. व्हाट इज द पर्पस हियर? नॉट क्लियर. ठीक है, राइट. ओके, मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. This question 1 2 3 4 5 6 people have answered so far. Let me see. Right, 7. Okay. Okay, now the government is likely to resort to trickery, right? This is again something which is too extreme, right? The author, this is a very emotional kind of a statement, right? This would be like people who are against or anti-government anyway, but that is not. See, is there any indication that the government is likely to resort to trickery to defend itself? We do not know. You have nothing, so do not conclude about something which we do not know. What we know clearly is a step has been made in the right direction, but more needs to be done. You can find it very clearly in the last paragraph. Where does the author say this? Right, right. So the court's acknowledgement that the allegations of a snooping have some weight go a long way. So the court's acknowledgement is it goes a long way. Matlab it's in the right direction. Yet the committee's conduct must go further. The investigation must be swift and its finding must be made public. Sirf committee form karna is not enough. It's a step in the right direction. You need to do more. So the best answer is 2. Everybody understood, I hope. Okay, right. Now, what is the problem with the first one? The Supreme Court's order is welcome. यहाँ तक ठीक है. And has dealt with the problem. Has it dealt with the problem? No. अभी inquiry करना बाकी. ठीक है, right. So 4 questions. I think this is enough for today. If you want, you can solve this question also. This is इसको एक problem है इसको. I'll not show it to you now. This question sequence we will do it tomorrow, right? Because there is an issue with this. Anyway, leave it. But I hope everybody has understood. So what we did today was a passage, and if you look at it, the questions which I have made, right? I have tried to make them as close as as close as possible to what comes frequently in CAT nowadays, right? CAT में भी nowadays और पहले में थोड़ा सा फर्क है, right? CAT 2005, 6, 7, देखो, you will find that the options are long and very confusing, right? उसके बाद देखो, the options tend to be more tricky than confusing, right? So that is what I have tried to make it rather tricky than confusing. ठीक है, right? So we will continue tomorrow. अभिलाष, JAT questions कब करेंगे? Now देखो, Abhilash, that questions with देखो this is the editorial session, so I have been asked to take only editorials here, right? So questions तो मैं अपने आप बना रहा हूँ. So for cat and zat, if you want the session, I have already asked you. You can ask for you know you can ask for it. You can send a mail, right, and you can ask for it. Otherwise, in the editorial session, I have been asked to take up only editorials. That is why. Okay, right. Vaishnavi, which question? Abhilash, previous class formula, as I have told you earlier, if you want anything like that, you should have, you should actually drop a mail at this. You should, any queries, you should, call at this number and, get whatever you want. Okay, right. So, with that, we come to the end of the session, right? And I hope all of you know about these courses, right? There is this batch which will help you prepare for other exams, right? And with that, we come to the end of the session. I will meet you again tomorrow, right? Same time. Till then, have a nice day.